Once again here in the Bigfoot, 29-foot Bigfoot Motorhome, 1999. We call the Squatch. I wanted to talk about the heating system and the air conditioning system briefly. Obviously, it's a good place to start right up here in the cab. As far as heat, this thing is mobile. It does have an engine, so if you're driving it, you do have a good source of heat. It is a Ford, so it does get hot. Has a hell of a good dash heater, and as you can see here, the front heat, front blower, and you also have a rear. That's for the auxiliary heat. There is a heater core underneath the bedroom floor. It does have two radiator hoses that run back to it, and several ducts. You see the black duct right there, the black vent cover. The white one is for the propane furnace. So when you are driving, you're not supposed to use the really anything propane. You're actually supposed to turn the tank off if you're going to drive the unit. So you're not going to have water heat. You're not going to have propane heat. The other feature is the lines that run along the frame rail back to the heater core underneath the floor actually stop off here at the water heater and circulate through a heat exchanger, so you can get a quote-unquote free hot shower, even though gasoline costs $3.70 a gallon. But hey, if you got the extra heat, you might as well use it. And I suppose if your engine is overheating, you can crank all this stuff up and try to cool it down a little bit if you're trying to get someplace. Anyway, actually, the reason I have the dash pulled apart right now is because the auxiliary heat fan does not work. Heat does flow back there once I have the engine up to operating temperature, but I can't seem to get it to work. Check the main fuse, it's fine. Check the two relays in the back by the blower, they're fine. None of them seem to have any power going to them, and this switch here doesn't seem to have any power going to it. So once I get a schematic, I'm going to start jumping some stuff out and get it figured out. One of the problems is that auxiliary heater back here is so difficult to access. I actually discovered it accidentally. I didn't know this thing had an auxiliary heater. I thought that control up there was perhaps just for the water heater, and maybe in other models they had auxiliary heat. But anyway, it was discovering this panel up here, and this space here between this piece of aluminum and the bottom of the floor, it's so narrow I can't even fit my chest in there. So back in there trying to work, I have probably bruises on my chest from constantly trying to wriggle around in there. Storage back here is nice. It does have the pass-through, but you're really limited to what you can fit in there. So anyway, back to other forms of heat. This is the exhaust for the propane heat. I don't know what the actual rating is on the heater itself. I've run it a little bit. It makes it nice and toasty and warm in here. There's several ducts. There's one just on the other side of this wall, one coming out the bench, one in the bathroom, one in the rear. I think that's about it, other than there is one that runs into the compartment that holds the discharge for the sewage tanks, sewage, black water, fresh water, which are in an insulated compartment underneath the floor right here. I suppose they're not heated all the time, but anytime it's cold enough outside, you're going to be occupying the unit. It's probably going to be warm enough in there to keep them from freezing. Anybody who knows anything about RVs, if you're not going to be occupying, it's going to be in the winter, and there's a possibility of freezing, you are supposed to drain and winterize your tanks, which they currently are winterized. Anyway, it's a 12-volt motor, so as long as you have propane and DC power, you can run the heat. The air conditioning unit, which I have the cover off right now, I don't know where the cover is. I have it off because I was just taking a gander, and there was water dripping out of this side here, so I'm keeping an eye on that until I put the cover back on. It does have a 110-volt heating coil, and the fan for the AC system is 110 volt as well, and the compressor definitely. So if you do have shore power, you could take the chill off the coach with that heating element, and I will test it at some point just to know that it works, but I'm not planning on making much use out of it. The AC unit itself is 13,500 BTU. Looks like the heating element is 1500 watt. So, you know, essentially the amount of energy that you would get, heat energy from one of those little 110 box space heaters. You can see one of the vents coming out back here. As far as balancing of the air, I mean, it's a really small space, so that probably doesn't need to be balanced all that well. But it would be nice if they actually had dampeners in them. They don't. These actually rotate, so you can direct the air a little bit. But other than that, there's not really much you can do. And then, of course, there is one that just dumps into the holding tank area below the floor. It doesn't even have a cover on it. It's just dumps right in there. So I won't know much more about it until this following winter, when I'll be heating a little bit. But there are going to be some plans for possibly other sources of heat and things that I can, you know, perhaps do to try to recover some of the waste heat that comes off of the exhaust of this propane furnace. I can't think of anything specifically right now because, you know, obviously the space is so small in a coach like this, and everything is so compact. Doesn't leave a lot of room for modifications, but it would be interesting to put some kind of a low profile heat exchanger that would actually duct the exhaust of the propane furnace somehow, maybe up the side of the coach, to some kind of low profile heat exchanger that would, you know, maybe there would be cabin air that would be passed across it just to pick up any more heat. I don't think I have to worry about too many, you know, stack effect, you know, issues with a conventional chimney in a home. Although any modifications that I make, I have to, I'm sure, make sure that everything is, you know, burning properly. The flame and the airflow and everything is effective for what the furnace is. But I really haven't gotten into that yet. I haven't even looked into how to clean it, see what the condition of it is. So anyway, that's heat and air right now. You know, possibly we'll find out that depending on where we end up parking it on sunnier days, which here in Portland you don't get much when it's cold. You might find that there's I don't know, maybe some kind of a solar installation that we can set up to even just circulate some air and pump it in one of these windows, which do open. Some kind of a diagonal box that feeds cold air down and allow hot air to rise up across some kind of a black surface to get a little bit of sun. I really don't know yet, but in a coach this small, a space this small, and the temperatures that we get here in Portland in the wintertime, I'm not expecting to use a whole lot of propane, but nonetheless I would like to find alternatives to be as independent as possible and cheap as possible. This is about early, young retirement. Thank you.